Grand final, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to roll and rumble. Ready to rumble and rock and roll. That sounds a little bit better. We have the grand final. It is map number 1. And yes, we are actually seeing another Nightelf versus Orc. We have Neutron against Cash. And Cash is sitting at the bottom left of the map right now, and it is an interesting one for him. If he makes it and takes the entire tournament right now, wins this best of 3 series against his Nightelf opponent, then he qualifies immediately for the playoffs, and it would be pretty sick to have him here. It would be our second Orc, if I'm not mistaken. Spiral is qualified, and well, Cash would be the second Orc, if I'm not mistaken here. But we're going to have a closer look at those standings then later on after the tournament is over. For now, still up to the top right, we have Neutron. And it's going to be pretty sick here. Both of the players obviously want to fight it out at the offline event, want to make it into the playoffs and then qualify for the offline event in Germany, in Osnabrück at the Esports Factory on the 17th of August. And it is open to the public. So if you guys want to stop by, want to check the event out, want to meet the players, I'm going to be there too. We're going to have a couple of guests as well, and there's going to be a barbecue. If you want to check all of that out, then additional information can be found at Endgame Gear Masters.com. You can just hover over to the website and check it out and have a look there. So in this case, we're actually seeing the Blade Master opening for Cash, so no more Farseer for him in this case. Not playing against an under tier, so switches gears also a little bit. And, well, Neutron is obviously already eager to see what exactly the opening hero is going to be here. We're seeing up towards the top the traditional one archer Ancient of War creep pattern that is super established from Night Elves just all over the world right now. And with the Keeper opening, Neutron didn't really feel the need to change anything here. And why would he? I mean, it is pretty much just a winning system for him. So far, he's been doing extremely well with this particular setup. And now he's going to try and get the same thing done again. If he can edge out another 2 wins here, then he would be in a phenomenal position for the playoffs. I mean, every point counts here. And obviously, he's also going to make it a little bit tougher for his competition. There's also the cell on the town portal. I mean, Cash is obviously going to try and take it all now. It's the first qualifier that he participates in. He had a bit of a more tricky series against End earlier, since he lost the first map and then had to win 2 in a row, but he was able to pull it off. Now he's in the grand final. That alone already gives him a good position here. And the only question that really needs to be answered is, can he go the full distance and really take the entire thing? And he might be able to do that. So first of all, we're having a little bit of experience for the Blade Master as he keeps jumping in. Can now activate the Wind Walk once again. And, well, actually, needs to be a little bit cautious because those entangles start to become more of a problem. But the Keeper also with +6 additional damage, so that definitely always hurts. Tries to force the cancel. There's another setup, and, well, that Blade Master... Yeah, that Blade Master, I was about to say got away, but I caught myself because the Keeper is able to get another hit through. And guys, the only reason why he was just able to get that kill is because he has the claws of attack +6. Yeah, not really a good start. A double Ancient of War, by the way, and we have Huntress already being built. So Cash is currently sitting there and is just thinking, well, that didn't go as planned. Played it a little bit greedy, and now he is, well, far behind. There's a level 2.5 Keeper already on the map, so that's already fantastic. And in experience, he's taking the lead. He now can easily creep. I mean, it's not only the fact that he is ahead in experience. If you kill a Blade Master, you also ensure that for the next few minutes, you are in a position where you can actually, without any trouble whatsoever, just simply creep. There's no Blade Master that can jump in, and he is taking full advantage of this. So the Blade Master is now finally being able to chip in a bit more, but the Keeper is already on level 3, which is another problem. Yep, there's the hit. It gets the Entomb too. So the Tomb. But, yep, there's another quick entangle. So he's going to try and push him down as quickly as he can. There's only 1 healing self left in the inventory, and knows that, of course, too. So grunts are rocking all over the map now. 31. That's what we are having here right now in terms of supply. And on the Nightelf side, it's 33. But With a double Ancient of War, he has a pretty solid ground army that he can now put to the test here. And the Keeper is already starting to make his move up to the top to go straight in for the next creep camp. The Blade Master, again, he needs to be cautious because he doesn't have any healing cells, so he can't really overstay his welcome here. The problem is if he meets up against the Nightelf army here, and that level 3 Keeper is just dropping entangles again like it's candy, then he's in trouble. And that's exactly what we're happening here. It's honestly a bit of a deja vu. It's pretty much what we've seen against Bizarre earlier today. Yep, the Blade Master's trying to at least take a few of these wisps down, but in exchange, there's at least one grunt that just got eliminated. And now as the Keeper is moving in again, they're trying to take the Blade Master down as well. Not quite able to pull that off again, but it's still a pretty decent trade. You lose a wisp, you gain a grunt. This is like not bad at all. So with this, we're now having, first of all, the Orc Magi down. Another Claws of Attack +6. Think about how much the Blade Master would have loved a couple of these items. Blade Master with additional damage and then speccing into the crit later on, here would have been his dream setup. But instead, he's just sitting there and he doesn't get any of that. No claws for him, 2 claws for the Keeper. Blade Master himself still with the aggression, still trying to take a few of those wisps away and therefore also hurting the lumber income on the side of Neutron. But ain't happening here. Instead, we're having just aggression, aggression, aggression from Neutron. And he is moving in with the Keeper, who, by the way, is definitely running fake apps because there's no way that that guy is actually ripped. So, yeah, those apps are definitely painted on. Those are not real. What is real, though, is the level 2 for the Shadow Hunter and the Serpent Wards that are starting to immediately attack the... Oh, well, those archers might be in a bit of trouble. Do we have another? No, we actually don't have Dust of Appearance. Okay, so it's mostly about... Oh, that's a nice perch. Oh, yeah, baby. Now we're talking. 1 hunt down. Counter attempt here, but yep, Shaman is in play. So those perch plays actually work quite nicely. Can he kill the grunt, though? With the healing wave, it's a bit unlikely that it's gonna work. Or is it? Well, the rest of the team comes back in, and we're talking, baby. Yep, that grunt is walking away. With 2 hit points. And then the Keeper says, okay, I've had enough of this. Drops another entangle and takes the Shaman down too. 1 archer has fallen, another one gets annihilated. Yeah, he's trying to get a bit more damage in. And here comes also the Wand of Mana Stealing that we just saw in action. So another entangle hits home, and that is a dead grunt. No perch in time to save that. Cash is down to 32 supply against the 39 that we're having for Neutron. Yeah, and things are getting really spicy here. I mean, this game is starting to be all over the place. Mainly it's on the side of Neutron winning it, but yeah, he's just taking the units. He nearly has level 4 now. Well, and as I said, nearly. The next level drops into his hands. There's another entangle. I mean, honestly, his attempt here to just rock every single unit down, killing Shaman after Shaman, the entire tech units that we're seeing for the opponent is just insanity. And his Hunters are reigning supreme here. He's sitting at 42 supply against 32, a 10 supply advantage. And by now, he also is done with the Tree of Ages tech. He has an addition to that, an expansion that is now being built up. It's a great position for Neutron. Great time to be a Nightelf, apparently, at least in this game. So he's doing extremely well with this. And his Hunts so far don't have any attack upgrades, but still, looks pretty solid to me. No second heroes yet in play either, but he has pretty cool levels here. And is currently still looking towards a neutral one, I would assume. We're having Ancient of Wonders now also about to be put in. We're having the expansion pretty much should be mining. Yeah, any second now. Goma is getting entangled, and there we go. We're talking Tavern. It's time for the Tavern. It's time to get the second hero in, and then he can apply the pressure at the bottom of the map again and force the fight once more. 2 of the Hunts are a little bit low, so you need to be careful about those. No second hero for him just yet. Okay, gets trees into play, and there we go. It's Alchemist time. Goes in for the Alchemist and gets a little bit of XP for himself. Now, bot side, we're seeing level 2.5 for the Blade Master. Belt of Giant Strength. That didn't help him either. Shadow Hunter is looking there pretty good, but there's the attack at the shop. So there's a base that actually gets built now by Cash as well. And again, he was trying to cash in on an early expansion in the earlier games that we've seen him play in this tournament too. But I kind of doubt that Neutron is just going to sit there and take this, because he is going to try and shut this down before it even starts. I mean, the Watchtower is the first thing that he's trying to build here, and he also has the fortified armor, but not even that is going to make it into play. Not even that. So, yep, Hunts are in. That peasant, sorry, the peon should be taken out eventually. The 2 hunts that are really low are currently getting split off to make that work. But the expansion is running. There's the healing spray that now comes in. Up to the top, we're still having only tier 2. There's actually an archer that is currently missing here. And, well, there's a little setup with 45 supply against 50. That's really the moment when Cash has to say, okay, I need to do something with this now. And I don't really know how he's going to plan coming back into that. In terms of like army supply, he's still super far behind. As a Forest Road Berserker now, as he starts dipping into the mercenaries. Having it with another grunt coming in. And the setup is definitely becoming a little bit more powerful now that the Shadow Hunter is also level 3. But he's also playing defense while building a watchtower here in his own main base. And there's not really too much outside of the shamans that's going on. So he's going to try and play around the Purge quite a bit against the treants. That's instant experience if you have enough of them. And then you can also, of course, control the movements of the opponent's army. This is another big advantage now that we're seeing for Neutron, though. He gets the Augur Lord, and that means he's also getting another item. And, well, we're talking Katka's Pipe of Insight. Okay. Again, could get a little bit more out of this, but this isn't shabby either. Both of the heroes are going to be pretty happy about it. And you deny it to your opponent, which is even better, because the shamans would definitely love to get a bit of a touch of that. Keeper by now also with another scroll, so we have a scroll of healing for him. It's all about the Shadow Hunter at the end of the day. I mean, again, it's the level 2 Serpent Wards that are really the biggest issue. God, how I hate it when there's like Shadow Melton. And that's really when you want to have the Dust of Appearance. But nope, none of that in play for now. Cash is at 47 supply, and again, time is working against him. Time is working against... Yeah, that Entangle got dodged, but close call. Yeah, the problem really is that time is working against you if you don't have an expansion and your opponent doesn't. If you have a tech advantage over him, that might be something that you can pull off. 1 hunt down. But in the long run, Cash will have to face the music here. And the longer he waits, the bigger the army is going to get and the higher the heroes are going to get too. They're having level 4 and level 3 on the board for the Nightelf. As he is rocking that Keeper and also has that Alchemist in a pretty decent position. But what else is he going to get with that? There we have it. The attack against the Augur Magi. Book of the Dead is already about to drop down. And, well, let's see what else he's going to get. Now, the Book of the Dead, obviously, there's no question how much value are you actually going to get out of this. Your opponent already has Dispel, but it's not really an AoE Dispel then again with the Priest. It's a little more, so you have to actually purge all of that. I highly doubt that's going to happen. There's already the Lightning Shield, that's fantastic for the Blade Master. So there's definitely another huge advantage that you get out of those Shamans. Lightning Shields everywhere, and that AoE damage is a pain, but he has the Scrolls of Healing and is using it, as we're seeing still the heal come through from the Shadow Hunter. Cash is at 49 supply, but he's actually doing okay against the Huntress, but he has just too many of them, that's his problem. There's just too much of an army there. It's massive, and the +2 attack upgrade are just way too good right now. The bouncing of the glaives does insane damage here. And now also the Serpent Wards gets eliminated. And with this, we're having the Alchemist nearly on level 4, which is even worse right now. So, right now, what else do we get? We're having at the bottom of the map the Great Hall getting attacked here, and well, Cash is sitting at 40 supply, and as expected, is getting pretty much overrun with this now. Yeah, Cash has to somehow fighting back against this, but he's down to 43 supply, and he's up against 72. It's a pretty crazy setup against him, and breaking through that even with your Serpent Wards on level 2 is pretty much going to be impossible. If he had the Shadow Hunter on level 5, that might be a different story. But here, the heal alone from the Alchemist is just too much for him. And you could simply just use the Book of the Dead even and drop it here into the back, for example, and just let it finish the job while you're fighting the army. That Blade Master is barely getting out. And the Alchemist is on level 4 by now. Level 5 Keeper. I mean, the entire Orc army is pretty much down to the red. And there's the GG as Cash taps out in game number 1 and yields the field of battle to Neutron, who is now taking the lead in the grand final here at the Endgame Gear Masters. Game number 2, everyone! Alright, this is going to be a solid one right here, because at this point we have Neutron in a position where he could make this a 2-0 and take the victory in this third qualifier for himself. All the way over to the top right on Northern Isles on the other hand. Cash has other plans. He already fell behind in the semifinal against Enter earlier and was able to turn things around and then make it to the grand final. But now he has to win 2 in a row against his Nightelf opponent. And that's not going to be an easy feat considering how like solid in general just Neutron looked today. Great performance by him in all of the games that we've seen from here so far. And, well, he might be able to crown himself the champion of at least this tournament. So we're having already, in the last game, the Blade Master opening for Cash. And let's see if he can pull that off a little bit better today. I mean, it didn't really start off well, right? He lost the Blade Master early on and creeping, got attacked here. As he was attempting to harass his opponent's base. That definitely didn't really help his cause. And it just got worse from there. So now we have the opening with the Keeper again. Same system as before, and the Blade Master is in as well, as they're starting to get this on the road too. So there's a chance obviously that we're gonna head into a third map with this, but it depends a bit on how much Cash can actually pull off with the Blade Master this time. In the last game, definitely didn't really work out here. And I gotta say that Neutron's timing was actually extremely good. He started to attack the expansion of his opponent, his own base was up early on. His entire harass was just really great, and just the position that he took on the map after killing the Blade Master. He was able to get more experience for himself, got better items, had the better army, the tech was good, he got the expansion in, and he nearly doubled the supply of the Orc throughout long stretches of the game, and just simply overran him there at the end with better upgrades too. Had the 2-0 upgrade on the Huntress as well, so the bouncing on the glaives did solid damage. And well, for now we have the Blade Master actually had a top side, so he already knows that he can safely creep the position down here at the bottom and will therefore get level 2 for the Keeper Northern Isles as well. Another one of mana stealing, and that can be a problem for the Blade Master if he jumps out of the Windwalk and all of a sudden finds himself deprived of mana in one of those setups. He can also let the Keeper to drop another Entangle. Yeah, for now the Keeper on level 2, and well, at the top another Grunt is on a run. And that's always a problem. The Grunt is actually caught on the map and then you just drop the first Entangle. That one is pretty much gonzo. So, yeah, for now we're actually seeing again a little bit of creep going on from Neutron, who's still doing his thing, but now the Blade Master is finally starting to join the fun here, and let's see how much he can actually get. Gets the experience and is maybe even able to put some pressure onto that Archer, but I would be surprised if he gets the kill. Well, maybe if he can body block from the front. Without Boots of Speed, unlikely, especially since the Keeper comes in and drops the Entangle. Or is he? Nah, Moonwells. Moonwells are there. Once they are depleted, it's a bit of a different story, but up to this point, yeah, he can go for an harass, but now it's also nice that the Moonwells are actually starting to come back in. We're having another Entangle, and guess who's out of mana? Because amount of mana stealing has been used. So, reminds you of something? Reminds me very much so of game number 1, and there's another Entangle, but this time he focuses on the Grunt. Duration's obviously decreased against heroes, and the Grunt is definitely a lot more vulnerable than the Blade Master, despite the fact that he doesn't really have a lot of mana to move away from this. Does also not have Dust of Appearance that he could use to take down these archers, by the way, but if he can save his own Grunt, that would be fantastic, or if he can at least deny the experience to the opponent. Neither one happens to work out here, so he loses the Grunt. Didn't really get a lot for his efforts either. The Great Hall upgrade into the Stronghold is now underway, and that's not the only thing that's underway here. We have actually a Tree of Life build too. And for now, what else are we going to get from this little setup here? Yeah, there comes again the Treants as they're going for even more creep patterns, and the Keeper wants to grab level 3 with this. Blade Master starting to move in just a second. First of all, scouts out the base, which is going to be important. Might actually be able to, yeah, forces a stop on the creep because he's nearly going to go for the cancel. Second charge of the Wand of Mana Stealing is getting put to the test too. And thanks to the Entangle, there's the actually still forces the cancel. Nice! And he gets an Archer as well. Okay, so we are actually talking all of a sudden. Gets another Archer too, and damn, Cash is opening up in this game with a much, much better setup. Way more efficient now than what we've seen in the previous game. Forces the cancel on the expansion, gets a couple of archers, might actually be able to also save the Grunt here, and it seems like he can pull that off. Needs to block the Huntress though, And that works out for him as well. We're now talking 3 grunts, and that makes this a little bit more dangerous to engage than before. For the Nightelf, of course, that is. So yeah, still waiting for the grunt to get a little bit more mana here. And as long as that fight continues, I mean, again, should be enough for him to get away. Oh, actually, there's a keeper coming in from the top. Cuts off the path of retreat, and that is going to take this one down as well. So 1 grunt eliminated. The problem is that everybody else is running down to the bottom again, and you know what that means? That means that this one is going to get cancelled again. We're going to get a second cancel right there. So, yep, there we have it. 2 cancels, and again, even if you don't lose too much money on this, the problem is you lose time. So Neutron's position is going to be way worse. The problem is that there's still a chance that some of these grunts are getting caught. And Cash is now at 31 supply against 32. Expansion up here at the top has been completed. We're talking double hero now with the Shadow Hunter in play. But over in the base, the tag into the Tree of Ages has now started by Neutron. So if you look at the situation that actually unfolds in front of us, it's a double cancel on the second base that forced the Nightelf now to switch his MO, and instead of trying to get an expansion set up and then tagging, he starts his tag sooner because he knows he can't just stay on tier 1 for an eternity. So it's a really, really cool setup now for Cash, outside of the fact that he's still losing a few grunts, which obviously hurts him. But he's at least able to ensure that he can now creep with the Shadow Hunter. He's still scouting, there's no expansion for his opponent. So if you compare the setup here to the one that he had to face in game number 1, then this is heaven. He got 2 archers earlier too, so that shuts that down as well. And it's a really, really nice setup in comparison to what happened on the first map. Then again, now we're seeing Neutron again trying to take the initiative here and be a little bit more aggressive with what he has. And he's already trying to go straight to the top. But first of all, he is going to be sniffed out pretty soon here. Yep, the grunt already knows what's coming. And the army is actually together. So we still have shamans in play, but there's only 1. So you can still abuse the fact that there's not really a whole lot. There's obviously a crucial number that you reach with shamans where they're really going to have a big effect on you. At the beginning, first of all, the mana just isn't there. You only have 1 or 2. But if you really want to control a fight like this, then you need a few more around. Could get the Purge then obviously in later on as well. But it's all about the items now. It's all about the experience. And he gets the 2, he gets the creep. There's still a level 3 keeper of the Grove. But the obvious solution would now be to also just keep creeping, get some extra experience for yourself, and then start to turn it around here. And that's exactly what he's going to try and do. And right now, with Serpent Wards being here, Neutron needs to be a little bit careful. I mean, he puts the pressure onto the grunt, but his own Huntress are also starting to suffer. So far, no Purge being used, and the grunt could get away. And talking Purge, there's the first, and that's an immediate kill. And that's level 2 now also for the Shadow Hunter. And he still has healing salves, and he saves the grunt as well. Cash on 38, and Neutron on 36. Starts to build the expansion again. 50 supply for the expansion at this point. And what else are we getting now? He's trying to, purges out the Entangle. Gets that done. And, Keeper still on the run here. Keeper on the run, and, well, Cash by now taking the lead in experience. Taking the lead in supply. He's looking way better than in the last game. And Neutron is still attempting to just keep him busy, but especially with those Serpent Wards being around, even though they're only on level 1, he needs to be cautious, since those Hunters are suffering a lot of damage from that piercing damage that gets in there. And once we're having level 2 of them, it's even going to be a different story. Another Purge is hitting, and that allows him now to also keep the grunt in play, drain the Keeper slowly of mana, which is exactly what he's doing. There's a few more units now around, and he has a +1 attack upgrade, so at least on upgrades he's not looking too bad. But this is not quite necessarily a fight that he wants to take here. Shamans are getting attacked. Well, there's a Skull of Speed, and he starts to go in straight for another hunt. 1 down, gets for the second one. Yep, there's the Purge coming in. And that's 2 hunts down already, and he's going to lose more here now, isn't he? Another Purge comes in, and that's hunt number 3 eliminated in this. And I don't really think that the Orc lost a single unit in this fight. Cash is at 44 supply right now, and he goes up against an opponent with 32. Trying to push out with the Staff of Teleportation. The idea is, of course, now to get an expansion for yourself set up, but guys, seriously, it's a great job now, or a great position to be in for Cash. And he has upgrades too. So after we've seen the +1 attack upgrade come into play for the Nightelf, we now have the Orc also with an armor upgrade to his name. So he can creep even more, bring that Blade Master to level 3. And the Shadow Hunter is also really close to that. In terms of items, we get, well, we have at least something. We have Gloves of Haste and Slivers of Agility. Obviously, he would love to have a little bit more damage that the crit could figure into, but not quite. So down at the bottom of the map, there's at least the creep now starting off. And we have the second hero with the Alchemist. There's also the first set of Dryads. But notice something? Dryads, Huntress, it screams piercing damage. Because all of them are unarmored, and the Blade Master with now also a scroll of healing is now rushing down to the bottom of the map. And this is just fucking fantastic right now for the Orc player. Guys, this is going to be kill heaven for him. He is going to take that base down pretty easily, or he's at least going to try the Entangled Goldmine. I guess pretty easily is probably not what we should go for. It's still even supply for the two, but he definitely has now the added pressure against all these units, and the more he sieges up with the Shadowhunter, the better for him. The one problem is that he doesn't have level 3 yet for the hero. Needs to dodge out on the detonation. Detonations come in, and the mana is gone. A bit of an attempt to go for a cheeky tower there too. That one didn't work, but he's building another 2, another 3, and yeah, that's a problem, and a massive one at that. Time is working against Neutron right now. He needs to shut this down, and needs to shut it down soon, and it is going to be really difficult for him to make that happen in time. And once those towers are set, once the watchtowers are there, it's going to be nearly impossible to hold that position. And in terms of, well, supply, it's 48 against 49. It's still dead even. That's a good move against the Blade Master, though, and he goes down. That might just be what he needs, and he didn't give over the Potion of Greater Mana to the Shadowhunter either. So now he's just trying to retreat slowly. Blade Master's obviously either going to be rebuilt, or, well, he might be able to fight back too. But we're having a couple of the units fall, and especially those Shamans are obviously suffering as well. They are not the only ones who can dish out, well, the Dryads are not the only ones who have problems with the piercing damage. It's also true for the Shamans themselves. This, on the other hand, is now set. This base is going to fall or run away, one of the two. I mean, again, you can still go for the French defense here, or at least try to pull it off and rush away. But I guess Neutron already knows that if he unroots that tree, then it falls victim to the units anyways. So yeah, that's one shutdown already. So Cash at 44 supply. We're still having a bit of a setup here with 45 for Neutron. But the game isn't over yet, but that's obviously a big loss. Shadowhunter without mana, on the other hand, isn't really doing too much for him either. And he needs to be careful because he doesn't have a Town Portal, for example. So if he actually runs into his opponent and then gets entangled all day long again, then he has another problem coming. Actually, is he going to try and take those peons down? Seems a little bit like it. Yeah, he's trying to cut him off. He's trying to flank him, baby. And uh-oh, that's a problem. And a big problem at that. Yep. One Shaman already down, 2 attacked, 1 entangled. Oh my god, he's slowing everything. That's 3 more units that are gonna fall. Those Shamans are going to be obliterated. Yep, 1 down, 2 down, and he's going to lose another one. That hurt. That hurt a lot. Cash is down to 40 supply right now. Oh, that's brutal. Honestly, I was really wondering if it wouldn't be better for him to wait for the Blade Master to come back and then maybe go down to the bottom of the map, maybe even buy a Town Portal for this. You waste a lot of time, but it might have been better than losing this much. This really hurt. This hurt him a lot. Keeper on 4, Alchemist on 2.5. I mean, again, 3-3 units or 3-3 heroes on the other side now for the Orc player, but that was definitely an issue. And despite the fact that the expansion has now been taken down, Neutron still has a pretty decent army. His army is looking pretty good. He has a Tree of Eternity tag going for himself here. His upgrades are currently at 0-0 for the Dryads. Oh, talking Dryads. One of them down already. That's a great creep check. That's a fantastic creep check. That is an amazing creep check. Let's see how much he can actually get from that. Got 1 unit down, shut it down 2. Gnoll Overseer could still be taken by either one of the 2 players. That would be experience for them too. Ep gets taken. Oh, and denies the Hilarious Fruit of Accuracy. That's great. He already starts to go into Headhunters too. So with Shamans and Headhunters both dishing out range damage, that's actually a decent item for him. And it would have been a terrifying item in the hands of his opponent. Honestly, if you're Neutron and you actually see that your opponent is getting this item and steals it away from you, you just want to puke in a bucket. Bottom of the map, I mean, eventually there's an expansion that can be built here, obviously, too. So there's another setup. Up towards the top, there's a Shredder. There's Goblin time, baby. And time for some experience as well. And that's what the Alchemist is now getting. Gets the level 3. And where is Cash? Cash is also trying to get some experience for his Shadow Hunter. Level 4. And finally he has the Potion of Greater Mana in his inventory. He has the Healing Wave, and he has obviously also now the added access to the level 2 Serpent Wards on top of it. And there's the attempted creep at the top left. Can he jack that? Should be able to. Magnetor Reaver. Do we have a Dust of Appearance? Yes, we have Dust of Appearance. And he's gonna check it. Alright. Gets a little bit of damage in. He doesn't have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. You need to be careful, though. Okay, moves back already. Reinforcements are getting caught here. Especially that tree. That tree gets attacked right away. Yep, Magnetor Reaver is not taken. So taking the tree down. Okay, that's the first one eliminated. Here come the Serpent Wards, gets the first one in, and, well, the Blade Master starting to do a little bit more work here. Also, we're having a Khaldor Beast in the mix now, too, and things are starting to get a little bit annoying. That's even a kill, because there's no Staff of Preservation just yet. So, yep, take that one down, and another Dryad falls. Guys, Cash is absolutely killing it right now. Keeper will have to portal out. Keeper has to portal out, and it's a bit of free damage onto the Alchemist now as well. Not that it matters too much. But this setup is getting better and better. 50 supply now against 47, but the hero levels are rising. And obviously he can finish what his opponent started. Moves in all the way to the top, and that Magnetor Reaver is already down to 30% HP. That's easy experience and an easy item for him as well. And once we're having high-level heroes, that's going to be nearly unkillable. Gets the Ancient Django of Endurance! Oh my god! Double aura from him. Khaldor, triple aura. Khaldor aura has the TC aura and also the Priestess of the Moon aura. This army is getting stronger and stronger by the second, and it's just one base versus one base here the entire time. Keep on 4.5. Yeah, well, that Shadow Hunter, if he hits level 5, oh boy, are you in trouble. I mean, now we're also seeing the Blade Master. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability might not be a bad item for him either. I mean, he's sitting still at 500. There we go. That's my boy. And, well, he also has the Scroll of Healing. Armor upgrades, only 2 for him. But, yeah, Shadow Hunter, if he makes level 5 on that bad boy, it's going to be trouble. Quite a bit of that. Over here, still creeps going on as well. I mean, it's a 1 versus 1 base setup that we're having now. The one thing that I might still be waiting for is eventually being a base established by the Orc player at the bottom of the map. So far, that hasn't really happened. Didn't really need that too. Double Khaldor means that he can also go and snack away those, those druids. And that's a setup. Look at that. The meal has been served. Well, but the Raider with the Ensnare. Khaldor still doesn't want to get close enough to that. And talking about the Raider, gets saved for a few more seconds, but falls eventually. Here comes the Skull of Speed, and another Dryad down. Bambi is dead, and ooh, Daddy might also die soon. Yep, Keeper of the Groove gets attacked here again. Can they shut him down somehow? No, but they might be able to get the kill against the Alchemist, and at this point it would be shocking if they didn't. The army could try and save that again, but nope, there's just one purge coming after another. Snack time, baby! Oh yeah, that's one already eliminated, and it's time for the surround. The Alchemist! It's about to fall. There's the heal. He tries to heal himself a little bit, but the Alchemist is down. And guys, it looks more and more like we're going to see map number 3 in this series. Great setup now with this. Rush down to the bottom of the map. And let's see what we have with this. Blade Master on level 4.5 already. Another crit would be great for him. And there we go. Oh, the Shadow Hunter. Yeah, 5 points away. 5 points away from level 5, and then you're in trouble. Then you are in trouble. I mean, you're already in trouble. You don't have an Alchemist right now, so the second hero is down. And by the way, didn't I say base? Yep, there we have it. Cash is expanding at his opponent's natural. Which makes things even worse for him. And yeah, Cash still a little bit behind in supply because his opponent went into the low upkeep. But this is just fantastic. And it's snack time once again. They're snacking the units away. And that's obviously supply that is still accounted for. There's another purge, and that, I mean, I think we're going to see game 3 here. Unless Neutron is able to pull something amazing off, it's going to be a tough uphill battle for him to try and come back into this. I mean, he is trying, but it's not going to be easy by any means. Right now he's still holding on, but once that expansion kicks in for Cash, that's a different story. Another purge is hitting the bear hard, and that's another one that falls. And obviously we're now also having level 5 for the Shadow Hunter. And that's just fantastic for him, even though he is a little bit low on mana, but he's still holding on to that potion, the greater potion of mana. One bear after another is falling here, and the healing waves are coming through in level 3 now. That's game as Neutron taps out, and Cash forces the third map in the grand final here. He's pushing his opponent to that limit as he takes the victory on Northern Isles. Game number 3, the final map in the grand final. We are ready to go. This should be a nice one. So once again, we're going the full distance with Cash. We are on Amazonia right now. And to the top right, we have Cash starting things up here as down to the bottom of the map, Neutron starts as the Nightelf. It's a pretty cool series so far. I mean, it was really interesting to see the back and forth that we had between the two players on the last map. But I gotta say that especially the double cancel was pretty amazing from Cash, or for him. He cancelled the expansion of his opponent twice early on and therefore delayed it long enough to pretty much shut it down completely. And it was a one base versus one base setup for the longest time, up to the point where we finally saw the expansion come through from Neutron. But he couldn't really capitalize on it either, because thanks to the higher level heroes that we saw from his opponent and the big aggression, it was just something he couldn't hold on to for too long. So nicely done here by Cash. He forces game 3. But at the same time, the question still remains if he can push that or pull it off one more time. Because it's not going to be easy to get a similar position here. Now in Amazonia, we'll find out how much he can actually do with this. We have the Ancient of War already put into position up to the front. We're having the Keeper played again. So both of the players with exactly the same setup in terms of heroes that we're seeing here for them. And, well, let's see. Top side. First of all, we have scouting obviously happening again, so they're trying to figure out what's going on there. And especially in the case of the Nightelf, you want to make sure that there is a Blade Master on the map. And also it helps to really note which direction he goes off once that he comes out of the altar. So you have a bit of an idea how much time you actually have before he hits your base and starts to be a problem. But yeah, with this, we're having the start with the one archer and the Ancient of War already setting this one up. Again, don't ever hit one of those mercenaries or one of those creeps with the Ancient on the last hit. It would mean that you don't get any experience, so you actually have to start switching targets there. And yeah, not destroy that. So far, nicely done by Neutron. And he gets a Circlet of Nobility for his troubles and for his time. I mean, so far so good. It's the final map in this best of 3 series. It's the final map in this tournament. And if Cash wins it, he makes it straight into the playoffs. So he will still be able to play at the playoffs immediately. If not, there's still a chance that we're going to see him there, but there will definitely be a bit of a tiebreaker scenario that he will have to go through, and that we are going to have a closer look at later on. For Neutron, things are settled already. He is guaranteed to be in the playoffs. That is definitely going to be a thing. Question is just, what is his seed going to be? And can you also claim the victory here now again? So right now we're having still a little bit more happening with the level 2 already in. If you see the Blade Master, he didn't really get a lot of experience, sitting at 48 and is already harassed once more. The typical play where if you are starting off with the Blade Master, you're actually selling your portal, has been executed again by Cash. Gives you a bit more early on money that you can then use to spend it into items. Where is he going? As for example, the Clarity Potion, the Healing Self, and all of that is already being used by him. And yeah, the Grunt is still rushing out on the map, but has obviously to be a little bit careful. That's one of the biggest problems that Cash had in the previous 2 games, I'd say, that he lost a lot of Grunts randomly on the map. They are oftentimes not necessarily in a fight where it wasn't any way needed, but yeah, he definitely suffered a lot of that. But now he's still attacking the bottom of the map again. And the Ancient of War is being built, and there's a Tree of Life as well. That's always a nasty position, because what he's actually doing is he's building a wall here that the Blade Master can't pass through. So he can't attack the Tree of Life. And the only thing that the tree has to do later on is eat itself through the forest here, through the trees, and then he's going to be straight at the gold mine. So that's always a super annoying setup. But there's the cancel. Yeah, can force another cancel already. Okay, double cancel on the structures. Knows that the expansion is there regardless though. And we're actually having the grunt escape too. So at least he's able to get a bit out of this. So it gets the double cancel in against some of the structure, shuts that down. And so far so good for him. Also had, of course, the vision on the Tree of Life itself, which helps as well. But he won't be able to force a cancel on that thing anytime soon because the progress is just too much. He might be able to get another cancel in on the Ancient of War on the other hand, but it's going to be a little bit clutch. But this time there is no mana drain available for the Keeper. We've been talking about a few of the lucky circumstances that Cash had in game number 2. But let's not forget that there's actually also a lot of item luck that was involved when we've been talking about his opponent. Because getting that Wand of Mana Drain there was pretty insane. Or the Wand of Mana Stealing was pretty insane to make sure that the Keeper was able to also harass the Blade Master a lot more and shut his attempts down earlier in the game. So yeah, that was definitely a nice one. I mean, with this one, we're actually having Cash already blocked at the top again. There's another Entangle available, so that might just be enough for him to get that Grunt eliminated. Actually, considering that there's 2 archers now joining the fun, that one is definitely a goner. But down at the bottom of the map, yep, there's the tree. Sees the tree, and it is Munchie's time. Trees also, honestly, when a tree walks around and starts to eat the forest, it always makes me think of someone that's just like high as a kite. I mean, honestly, that's a 420 moment if I've ever seen one. I mean, the tree is walking around, looks insanely stoned, and then at the same time is also just saying like, okay, I'm gonna eat all of this shit right now. That's pretty much what's happening here. So yeah, if that thing isn't stoned, then I don't know what is. So definitely a California moment that we have. But now we have Neutron down to 34 supply and losing an archer. Cash is at 28, is able to get some additional damage in, and there's the second hero now for him too. Let's see what he actually goes and pulls off with that. I don't expect to see Hex in there, but yeah, if he could get a kill against the Keeper, that would of course be his wet dream come true. But it's obviously a Serpent opening that we have for him. So that's exactly what's happening right now. And with this also the attack straight against the Taskmasters here. A bit more experience for him as well. But over here already the attack and that expansion is going to be set up soon. And the only question is, how is Cash going to deal with that? Is he going to try and hit a timing against the expansion? Or is he just going to let his opponent have the expo for a little bit longer and then set a timing up, for example, against with the Shaman attack here? And he is trying to at least make the expansion a little bit more difficult to establish by rushing down to the bottom and trying to help out against this. There's still a Rock Golem on level 6. Blade Master comes in, gets scouted out, needs to be careful. Serpent wards are in, and there's no healing for him. So he needs to be cautious because there is enough mana on the Keeper, and he has by now also level 3, which means that we're seeing a lot more Treants in play. A bit more action here, but eventually that Rock Golem is going to fall. I'm not sure if he has enough units for this. He's trying to take at least the Hunt down. That Hunt might be eliminated. No experience. Did he actually get the experience for the Golem? I'm not so certain, but uh-oh. 2 of the Grunts are down, the Hunt is still alive, and that is starting to become a massive issue. We have at least a couple of Shamans, or 1 Shaman already joining all of this, but as the Grunts fall, so do the hopes of him to turn this around, and oh my god. Oh, dude! The Blade Master survives, the Hunt goes in deep, gets taken out now as well. And 39 supply against 26, and Cash is losing the Shadow Hunter, isn't he? Yep, Shadow Hunter goes down, and the expansion is now starting to get set up, and that's the end of the Shaman too. Guys, this is not looking pretty. This is not looking pretty for Cash. Cash is now in a spot where he has lost the second hero. His first hero is incredibly low and needs to completely heal up. He needs to buy himself some time. He's at 29 supply, has reached here too, but on the other side, his opponent has reached the Tree of Ages, has an expansion now in play, and this entire timing against the expansion, just as the creeps are still attacking the Tree of Life, has not worked out. And now Neytpoh is through the worst. He's through the worst now. He's sitting in a setup where we have 40 supply for him, where he also has the +1 attack upgrade for his hunts, and, well, the attack that we see with the Blade Master right now, and with the Shadow Hunter, if he really makes a play... Okay, he doesn't. He just... I was just about to say, if he really makes another attempt at taking that base down, first of all, I think that would be pretty suicidal, and it would have also been a total all-in. In this case, he can still try and at least get higher levels for for the Shadow Hunter. But, yep, Blade Master's trying to rush away, and he has to dodge out on the owls now. And is actually able to make that happen. For now, at least. Yeah, there's owls everywhere. And he is trying to take him down there. But that also means that the top is now getting attacked, and one entangle on the Shadow Hunter, and he is going to be in trouble. Wand of Illusion is there, but then again, Blade Master distracted the army, so that's not an issue. But yeah, there's Owl Scouts just all over the map right now, and that makes it incredibly difficult for Cash to get any value out of the Blade Master in the setup. So, well, what does that mean for us? For us, that means, first of all, they'll be getting the +2 attack upgrade for the Nightelf player. He's at 50 supply nearly against a 37, so it's a 10 supply lead. And he has a level 4.5 keeper. Should get a second hero now too, and I'm pretty sure that's the next thing that we're going to see him acquire, but it also means that he would go straight into the lower upkeep and cross over the 50 supply threshold. And yeah, don't think that's going to deter him for much longer. Nope, there it is. Alchemist comes in, and both of the players are now more so interested in getting a little bit of creep going, and getting especially the Shadow Hunter on level 3. That would be pretty good. Having this, like, again, you want to have both on level 2. The Serpent Wards against the Hunters are absolutely fantastic, but you also need that healing wave to really keep your entire team alive. So, yeah, another setup here with more experience. This time the focus is on the Alchemist. Creeps with only one hero, so that all of the experience ends up on him. Keeps the Keeper a little bit farther back to make sure that the experience is not going to be shared between the two heroes. And Cash is now back to 45 supply, which isn't too bad to begin with, but then again, we have already a Scroll of Healing in the inventory of the Keeper, and there's another Scroll of Healing now ready for the Alchemist. So when it comes to income, it really starts to translate into a tangible advantage for the Nightelf player. He has the better items, and he's now also going into additional creeping. Now the attack is coming, don't get me wrong. And there are also a few more peons together with that. He has 5 in total, so he can set up a couple of towers again. But is it really going to be the play for him? Yep, gets the Robe of the Magi. Triple turrets are going to be built. 3 towers. I can be able as first Scroll of Healing is getting used, just because the Grunts go down. But that's not too bad. The position for him could be worse. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Grunts are getting melted, but the Hunters are also starting to lose hit points quickly against the level 2 Serpent Wards that we're seeing here. The Healing Spray is doing wonders though, and the double Scroll of Healing is also in play. Alchemist is now level 3. We're having Neutron on 48 supply against the 35 for Cash, and the Blade Master is down. And those towers are nowhere near completion. He's getting hunted down right now. Cash is in trouble in this third game, and it looks more and more likely that Neutron is going to take victory in the grand final here. And there's the GG as Cash leaves the game, and Neutron wins qualifier number 3 of the Endgame Gear Masters. GG, and well played.